Yeah, fuck capitalism. Unless I'm a shareholder. If I'm getting paid, it's great. If I'm the consumer, fuck you. I would say why you in your underwear, but like clothes don't matter if you're gonna get nukes shot at you. Armor does not mean anything. So why wear clothes at all? Hello, ye shower of bastards. In today's video, we'll be reacting to Regiie play Fallout 4, but every gun fires a nuke. So I hope you enjoy.
I want to introduce you to a world where bullets were never invented. Instead, humanity went straight to nuclear weapons.
Oh my god.
Every firearm, from a homemade pistol to a minigun, is capable of
holy shit!
In this world, there are only 3 rules. 1, you shoot first, or you don't shoot at all. 2, you should always have a backup plan in case you run out of ammo.
I thought he was just gonna kill himself again.
Is that water gun fights are now strictly off limits.
Yeah, I'd wonder why.
Such as this, there's only one thing left to do. Slavery. If you
oh my god,
a soot-encrusted Indonesian man mining sulfur for 7 cents a day and thought to yourself, damn, he's ripping us all off. Then I'm happy for you, because we are the same person. All of that is to say, I'm a big fan of capitalism, and when it comes to maximizing shareholder value, nowhere does it better than Nuke World.
Yeah, fuck capitalism. Unless I'm a shareholder. If I'm getting paid, it's great. If I'm the consumer, fuck you.
Some people will call this a defunct amusement park taken over by erotic cosplayers, but really it's just a different kind of amusement now, because we have hundreds of people forced into slave labor using
No, they're not slaves, they're the zoo animals.
explosive collars. From the moment I saw this 8 years ago, I knew it was my destiny to be the CEO of this wonderful business. So that's our goal. Utilize weapons of mass destruction to take over Nuke World and usher in an era of mega slavery. Can we succeed?
Nice.
Or will we
probably will with nukes.
With gun? There's only one way to tell.
Oh wait, I just realized, yeah, anyone else with the gun can also shoot nukes. Oh fuck.
But first, I have to watch my wife get shot. So my wife and son were vaporized in a thermonuclear blast. Unfortunate, but from their ashes a hero was born. We escape the vault and enter into a world whose color scheme could best be described as 50 shades of vomit. From here, we could go straight to Nuke World, but we're level 1, and we have
you can't do that yet.
A paranoid schizophrenic who thinks the government is spying on him through his microwave. So instead, we'll spend a few hours gathering supplies and trying to reach level 15, at which point we should be ready. I saunter my way into what I assume is modern-day Los Angeles, at which point a comedy robot attempts to socialize with.
Is this modern day from today's times or modern day for then? It looks about the same.
But that's exactly what they expect me to do. So instead, I jump on top of my neighbor's roof and dive headfirst into a pool of radioactive sewage.
Why would you do that?
Our first goal is to find a gun, because the power spike from punching things to nuking things is pretty substantial. After wandering around, I find a dead body with a revolver on it, and upon testing it out on some near...
The great part is that no matter what weapon you use, the only difference between it is semi-automatic or fully automatic. Every gun is going to have the same effect.
By wildlife, I was both excited and terrified at the world I had created. I made my way into a nearby town, where usually a small group of bandits is fighting with some Minutemen, but now a small group of bandits is committing a nuclear holocaust.
Holy shit!
You should have seen it before we reduced the explosion effects. Anyway, I tried silently assassinating the raiders. This was met with very limited success. Eventually, I got tired of role-playing as a high-altitude weather balloon, so I nuked the bandits and entered the museum to help the Minutemen. Or rather, I tried to enter the museum.
Oh no.
As dangerous as nuclear warfare is outside,
I forgot about that.
Worse inside. And I got spawn killed for about 20 minutes before.
Yeah, there's a load of raiders on the inside, isn't there? I forgot about. How are you gonna do this? Is this even possible? At this point, just give up.
Before I finally made it past the front door. But by that point, I had been ground zero for roughly 35 nuclear detonations.
My
ears
god.
were ringing, my retinas were fried, and there was a very distinct possibility of me vomiting all over my keyboard. But my noble will gave me the strength to continue.
Slavery.
Room by room, clearing out the raiders in close quarters combat. This is a fantastic way to learn the exact blast radius of a nuclear bomb, because if you're off by even an inch, your limbs will eject from your body like rocket-propelled.
This challenge is either going to be really easy because you can just blow up every enemy at once, or really difficult because they can blow up you before you can take a footstep.
grenades. Eventually, I made it to Preston Garvey, who wasted no time complaining about how hard his life is. Just wait until he hears about my plans.
Oh my god, what are you wearing?
Preston had me climb up to the roof and equip this suit of power armor.
Yeah.
I was feeling very confident until a drug-fueled maniac popped out from around the corner and gave me both barrels of his shotgun. A phrase which has recently intensified in meaning since each pellet is now.
Dude, shotguns are amazing. What the fuck? It's a fucking pellet, so it spreads multiple nukes.
Now its own nuke. Honestly, I had a lot of difficulty at this section because the minigun takes half a second to spin up, and if a raider happens to squeeze out even a single shot in that time, it's all over. But if I've learned anything from watching a homeless man avoid arrest by drinking his vodka out of an antifreeze bottle, it's that necessity breeds innovation. Come to think of it, that might have actually just been antifreeze. Regardless, I pioneered a new combat strategy, that is the mortar technique. Instead of shooting at my enemies, I just kind of carpet bombed the entire town with
Oh my fucking god! Holy shit!
From here, I jumped off the roof and did my best to crush Preston like an ant. What are you, crazy? When that failed, I settled for finishing off the raiders and laughing at the Deathclaw's attempt to intimidate me. Following this, I went inside, Preston thanked me, and Mama Murphy
thanked you for standing on his foot with a fucking 10,000 pound hunk of metal.
Gave me the perfect setup for a joke.
We're all gonna die eventually.
Yep. After that, we all went to Sanctuary and started drinking from the same toilet bowl because we are now friends. In fact, Sturgis asked me if I could build everyone some beds so they didn't have to sleep underneath bridges and inside of burnt-out cars. I looked him straight in the eye and said I would do that. Of course, I was lying. In fact, I immediately left Sanctuary and never contacted any of these strange people again in my entire life.
Just completely ignore the main feature of this game, which is the building. Just ignore it completely. We're going straight to slavery.
Collection of guns, but I'd still like to gain access to some better perks before taking on Nuka World. So I began doing odd jobs around the wasteland. First mission, a filthy woman wants me to go to this place and kill all of these people. No problem. I traveled to the factory and started
with,
my mortar
nukes
technique to soften up their defenses. It takes only 9 seconds for me to accidentally nuke myself.
Oh, wait, what?
Best. Eventually, I make my way inside and begin atomizing the inhabitants while the building vibrates violently with each shot.
Okay, so basically, the minigun and the shotgun are the best weapons in the game. One can mortar strike and the other one has like a pellet spread of multiple nukes.
Luckily, the other raiders convinced themselves it was just the wind. Now, you might think the best weapon for room clearing would be a shotgun, but you'd be wrong, and I found this out the hard way, because the spread on a shotgun means it's almost impossible to aim it straight, and despite your best efforts, you will hit either the floor or the ceiling. And the
inside
will almost certainly turn you into a human jigsaw puzzle. This happened to me more times than I'd like to admit, before I begrudgingly filed the double barrel.
So, shotguns are good outside. You aim a little high as well.
Next to Regiie fan meetup in the category of things that sound fun but will probably get me killed. I also tried hacking into this cute little security robot so he could help me clear out the bandits. He lasted all of 3 seconds before they murdered him in cold blood. This was the single biggest mistake the raiders could have made.
Oh no.
His existence was the only thing stopping me from doing this.
Bro, at this point, does this place have anything to scavenge?
Yes, indeed. The bandits were dead. Completing this quest got us to level 6 and allowed me to unlock them.
I'll be honest, I've never actually finished Fallout 4 because I don't like the combat in it. Every gun like the only difference I feel when I'm playing it is that your gun is either semi-automatic or fully automatic. And the only actual difference is, do I have to hold the trigger or repeatedly press it? There's no recoil on anything, and every enemy feels very easy. And I don't like that. To be fair, I do know there is a mod that you can change that, and I would probably play the absolute shit out of the game if I downloaded it, but I don't have it on PC. I had it on PS4, so...
Mysterious Stranger perk, which is now substantially more satisfying because yes, he does shoot nuclear bombs. This was good, but we still have a long way to go, so I continued on my quest to convert every living being into experience.
Yeah, that's where the shotgun is good, outside. Oh.
It went a little like this. I start the day with some train yard hobos. First you shoot them, then you
Yeah.
beat them. 8 experience each. Also, tried my hand at cattle wrangling. I think I'm a natural. The shipyard,
Nice.
break into a shipyard. It's full of murder crabs. Now it's not. Apparently, the owner was trying to domesticate them by playing soothing messages on the PA. It didn't work. That was a lot of effort. Let's go ahead and take a rest for the night in this old building. Never mind, the universe hates us and we've just been ambushed in our sleep by cat dogs. Plunge the world into nuclear winter in retaliation.
Yeah.
After that, I went to Bunker Hill, where I spent 20 minutes marveling at the ugliest human being I have ever seen. Which is strong words coming from someone who looks in the mirror every morning. Once I was done, I went to the Drumlin Diner to try to negotiate peace between some raiders and the store owner. When I told the lady I wouldn't be taking her side, she presented me with a very compelling argument. Oh my god, what the fuck? But 2 can play at that game.
Just kill her, don't shoot first, ask questions later. Again, well, it's actually more like ask questions never, because they're always going to be dead.
Say what you want, but this is the fastest method of de-escalation. Following this, we got a quest to kill everyone inside this preschool. Don't worry, the kids are already dead. We're just killing them. I went to every room with extreme prejudice, but still died anyway because the whole place is booby-trapped and tripwire guns now fire atomic bombs. But it's okay, because we can always retreat to the public bathroom to brew more health potions. Eventually, I find their leader and introduce him to the concept of a glory hole before stuffing his charred corpse into a garbage bin. Finally, I finish by releasing all of his captives, except for you. Someone has to stay behind to tell the people about my good deeds. After all that, we're now level 10, and I've even figured out how to craft bear traps, which I have successfully stress tested on a small child.
My god.
Works like a charm. Let's finish up a few more quests and then go straight to Nukes.
I would say why you in your underwear, but like clothes don't matter if you're gonna get nukes shot at you. Armor does not mean anything.
The world.
So why wear clothes at all?
Bunker Hill, admiring the absolute girth of this man's biceps when I was approached by Edward Deegan. He took me to Cabot House to accept a quest from John Cabot, who wants us to steal some secret serum from a psychotic gentleman living in a shack on top of a hill, which is fine. However, John bears a striking resemblance to the Zodiac Killer, and so I wasn't sure if I could trust him. That's why I covertly stole and hid exactly one of his pool balls. If he betrays me, he'll never get this back, and the loss of a singular ball in an otherwise perfect set will almost certainly drive me to a suicidal.
Dude, that's so annoying. That's like stealing the base of a kettle. Like, you have your kettle, you can fill it with water, but you can't boil it. Or like stealing HDMI cables from your TV or the batteries of a remote. Like, you've left the fucking essential part, but it won't work. Fuck.
Rage. This is what we call establishing collateral. Anyway, I went to the insane guy's shack to get the serum, but an acorn fell on the ground and it spooked me, so I spent the next 55 seconds nuking the man's face until I stopped getting hit markers.
Oh my god. Was it until you stopped getting hit markers, or was it until the magazine was empty? I feel like it was more the magazine emptied.
I grabbed the vial, went back to Cabot, lied to him, and said the serum was gone before taking it out of my inventory, waving it in front of his face, and injecting it into my neck just for fun. For good measure, I also smashed a bunch of his research equipment and stole this fancy camera. Only one more quest to go, then we're off to the world.
It's time to that. See, this is the thing, right? I'd love Fallout if I liked the combat, but the combat is very simple and every gun feels the same. Do you know what? If it's ever on discount, I'll probably get it. But like, I just can't stand the normal combat. Every gun feels the same, no matter what. Like, I can't do it. I can't.
I'll let me dance.
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my.
I rushed
What?
the signal as fast as I could, but upon arriving, it seemed like he had things under control.
Hi.
I talked to Vance, and he asked me to accompany him on a mission to salvage technology from some nearby ruins. This quest was
Can I have your power armor?
awful, but I do have a few tips. First of all, you're going to come across a gang of bandits robbing some traders. This is an interesting interaction that I recommend observing from a distance. Second, if you hear any variation of the phrase "we've got,"
Oh my
you
gosh!
need to run for cover.
Dude's got the
Because
strategy down as well.
chance Paladin Dance is about to pivot like LeBron James and nuke the shit out of you for being within 20 feet of a bloatfly.
Oh no.
And when you do finally make it to the destination, the synths inside are very dangerous, so I recommend a tactical approach, such as watching through a sheet of plexiglass as Paladin Dance does all the hard work. Also, when you get to the basement, don't forget to accidentally melt off Dance's face with this rocket exhaust.
Holy
Trust me,
shit.
He actually likes it. After that, you just go upstairs, grab the tech, and it's all over. It's not a great quest, but it does give us the junk jet, which is some kind of pneumatic catapult for weaponizing random garbage. While it doesn't fire atomic bombs, it does allow me to kill my opponents by cracking them in the forehead with dirty cigarette trays, which is something that resonates with
So this is like his weapon of choice for like actual indoor areas now.
me deeply. Finally, we're now level 16 with maxed
Nice.
out luck, a few helpful perks, and a new rifle that has a 50-round drum mag along with a bayonet for
Oh my
close quarters combat.
god.
Before we go any further, I need to warn you about something.
What is
because
it?
the fine people at Makeship have infiltrated my apartment, stolen my genetic material, and created hundreds of clones of me that are conveniently the correct size and shape to fit inside of a mason jar.
Oh,
But you
no.
wouldn't do that to me, right? Anyway, for a limited time, we're going to be selling these Regiie plushies, and I highly recommend picking one up. But Regiie, what can
How
I use
limited
this
is
for?
this
Well,
time?
I like to use mine as my own personal hostage. You see, he's relatively small, which makes him very easy to overpower. Sometimes I also like to wave a big knife in front of his face.
Dude, that's a cool knife. It's got the Damascus coating on it.
It fills me with a sense of control that I've long since lost in my life. Also, he has no legs with which to run, no mouth with which to scream, only eyes with which he may observe me perform my elaborate war dances as I prepare to take his life.
Jesus
But if that's not
Christ.
exactly your style, he also makes a pretty good stress ball. So you've got 30 days to take me hostage. Do you think
30
you have what it
days.
takes? If so,
It's
put
well
your
past
hands in
30
the
days
comments.
now.
Put yourself down for as much of me as you think you can handle. Then prepare yourself. Now back to the video. I arrived at the Nuka World Transit Center with determination because from here
Nice.
we can take a tram to the amusement park.
Oh yeah, I forgot. This was about slavery. This was about taking over a park and owning slaves.
The only thing stopping us is a small army of bandits, robots, and rooftop snipers. I must have died about 15 times at this part before I settled on just firing 30 nukes into the sky and hiding in a parking garage while all of my enemies were turned to ash. I made my way down to the tram where this guy was telling me raiders had taken his family hostage at Nuka World. Apparently he escaped but was shot in the process, but the fact he didn't have a single drop of blood anywhere on his body led
that's
me to believe
confusing.
This man was a liar. So I politely excused myself, loaded up my junk jet with steel ingots, and then came back and pulverized his heart with a high-velocity
Jesus
metal club.
Christ.
Now his story about being wounded is a lot more believable. After
It's a
this,
fucking
I jumped on
railgun.
the van and went to the promised land. I arrived, and it was beautiful. A voice came over the speaker and told me two things. One, I'm trapped, and two, the only way to escape is to survive the gauntlet. I surveyed my surroundings and found the dead bodies of several half-eaten male prostitutes. So
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say my chances aren't great, but let's give it a shot.
I don't know,
Room one,
man.
A large lobby full of rusted junk. If the tetanus doesn't kill you, the machine gun turrets firing nukes definitely will.
Oh
Also, the ceilings
no.
are very low, which makes it easy for you to blow yourself up. So I recommend using VATS. Even if your chance to hit is low, it doesn't really matter, because atomic bombs are more of a to whom it may concern anyway. After that, it's on to room 2. This room was supposed to be armed with several booby traps. However, the nuclear detonation we unleashed on the last room seems to have spilled over
Well.
and disabled most of them. The key word being
Oh, well.
most.
Oh
After
no.
reassembling my body parts, I moved to room 3, which presented us with 3 doors to
Okay.
choose from. Door 2 was a room full of human heads, which appear to have been decapitated in the middle of nutting, while door 3 contained a bouquet of live grenades. I'm flattered. Escaping through door 1 led us to a
I'm
radiation
flattered. Now
room
here's my
with
700
60
nukes.
rads per second. In order to avoid developing stage 4 League of Legends, I took a near lethal dose of radiation medication and ran around in a fugue state until I found a peaceful escape. Next was a maze full of bizarre traps and animatronic aliens. fairly
Oh,
simple, just
shit.
don't underestimate the overgrown rats, because they will not hesitate to put you down.
What
After
the
this was a tunnel
fuck?
full of landmines. Sprint through it at top speed and across this definitely up-to-code wooden bridge.
Sure,
It collapsed,
100%.
and you're now being attacked by shellfish.
Oh,
Assert
no.
terrestrial dominance before proceeding to the hardest room of all, the gas chamber. It's here
Okay.
where we get locked into a room which is quickly filling with phosphine gas. If we don't get through this door in the next 30 seconds, we'll be dead. So here's the plan. Take a bunch of drugs to numb the pain of your lungs being dissolved. Stab all these bugs while making sure to fill your pockets with their succulent meat for later. And then hop on this computer and open the escape door. That leads us to a shed full of flying ants, which are surprisingly difficult to hit with a nuke. The torture of this room is a little more abstract, but it's very real nonetheless. Then quickly run through this
It's
cage area
tedious.
while people
That's the
shoot at you from
torture.
above. Just kidding. You can't do this quickly, and you're
What?
going to die at least a dozen times. But after that, we're finally at the last stage of the gauntlet. See that guy down there in the power armor covered in blood? Yeah, we're going to fight him, and he's invincible.
Oh,
But he has
no.
a secret weapon. It's not a high-powered rifle or even a rocket launcher. Instead, our secret weapon is a plastic water gun. The plan, in theory, is that our enemy is receiving power to his suit from this exposed electrical line. And if we can cover him in water, well, that probably wouldn't be very good. Alright, let's give it a shot. They counted us down and opened the gates, at which point I charged headfirst into my opponent. He responded by blowing off all of my limbs with a nuclear bomb. Clearly, we needed to
How did you do this?
The guy is actually invincible, but I found out that I can stay in the starting area and snipe him with the water gun to disable his armor. Then I followed up with like 20 nukes to finish him off.
Nice.
Following this, a lot of exposition happens, but I'm going to summarize it really quickly. That guy we just electrocuted, yeah. He was the CEO of Nuka World, and the Rangers that live here seem to put a lot of respect on violently murdering your political opponents. So they now recognize me as
We
their
are the
leader.
CEO.
This is fantastic.
Yes.
It comes with a lot of
We own
perks. For
slaves.
example, I live at the peak of Fizz Top Mountain with a lovely view over all of my employees.
Nice.
You are now one of my elite employees.
Also, since I'm the boss, I can go to the market, steal things right out of the display
Oh,
case, and
nice.
sell them back to the shop owner for free money. The downside is that Nuka World is divided into 6 parks, with only one of them being under our control. So it's our job to liberate the remaining parks directly
So you gotta get
into
all
my
of them.
authoritarian governance. Then, once we have them, we can distribute them to the different raider factions according to which of their political philosophies I find the most amusing. So it's time to meet the gangs. Operating out of Fizz Top Mountain is the Disciples, which is a faction that couldn't be any edgier even if they were actively pulverizing the elderly in a hydraulic
Oh my
press.
God.
This is strangely juxtaposed against the fact that they don't know how many belts you can wear before people stop taking you seriously. Overall, they're my second favorite. The second faction is the Operators. Their primary concern is making money at the cost of human life, which is my personal favorite philosophy. However, they have some shared mental disorder which precludes them from wearing clothes that actually fit. I don't know exactly why, but this makes me extraordinarily angry, and I
He's so
regularly have to
skinny.
restrain myself from killing them. Fortunately, I found a good compromise. Instead of creating a civil war by nuking their entire faction, I just swing by every few days, find a random operator, and secretly deposit a live grenade in his pocket. Lastly, there's the pet. They have a relatively experimental aesthetic, along with a nice selection of chairs. But whenever you want to talk to them,
Very nice.
you're going to be forced to listen to the bite.mp3 sound effect for hours on end, because they installed a dogfight pit in the middle of their base. This immediately and irrevocably disqualifies them from receiving any further attention from me whatsoever.
Got it.
With introductions out of the way, it's time to start expanding our operation and making some big
Let's
money.
go.
There's 5 parks to acquire: Galactic World, Dry Rock Gulch, Safari Adventure, the Nuka-Cola Bottling Plant, and Kitty Kingdom. First up is Galactic
what was that
World.
last
This
one?
is a space-themed park inhabited by hundreds of robots. However, someone spilled their Dr. Pepper on the AI mainframe, and it caused the robots to become violent murder machines. It's not great for business, so I went there and started fighting my way through the streets. The first thing I noticed was that there's plenty of laser turrets all over the premises. Luckily, they don't seem to work very well, and usually spend their entire time in a life-or-death battle against the ceiling. However, don't get too comfortable, because on at least one occasion, the air pressure from these explosions caused my cranium to detonate forcefully. Other than that, just keep an eye out for Mr. Frothy, who is very fast and will startle you into jumping off a bridge and subsequently dying in a nuclear explosion. Anyway, I made my way to the control room, where I'm able to turn off the robots. Only problem, it's broken, and it needs a total of 20 star cores to repair it. Unfortunately, they're scattered all over the park in the safekeeping of several automatons.
Bro, at this point, just kill them all. Fucking kill them. Fuck that.
That would like to crush my neck like a can of soda. But much like a restraining order, I viewed this as a challenge rather than a problem. Do you really think I can't get within 100 feet of you? So I began wandering around looking for these cores, which led me to a building called the Robco Battle Zone. My hopes of this name being metaphorical were quickly dashed when upon entering I died.
Why?
times. Part of the issue
Holy
is that
shit.
the Nuke mod isn't working perfectly on the robots, and some of them are shooting me with laser beams, while my supple body is perfectly optimized for dying in nuclear explosions. It does very little to protect me against this space-age technology. Just like how the lifeguards at the YMCA can't stop me from drinking the pool water, these robots couldn't stop me from blasting my way into the battle zone, at which point I was promptly locked inside and forced to fight a variety of enemies which entered from these doors and these hydraulic platforms. The robots were tough, but the primary difficulty in this cramped space was finding a place to detonate a nuke that wouldn't instantly vaporize you. First,
this is a small area. I don't know how that.
Swarm of iBots, no problem.
Don't know where you're gonna shoot.
Then it was on to the Novatrons, even easier. Then our final opponent was the Space Sentry.
Oop, sorry about that. How do you beat against that? If you need to shoot it multiple times, how do you beat it?
Yeah, he got the better of me. But as the saying goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I'll obliterate you with nuclear weapons. Just that. With the battle zone conquered, I gathered all the space cores and moved on to the next building, the Interstellar Theater. Surely a fucking theater can't be as dangerous as the battle zone, I thought to myself. But boy, was I wrong.
It's gonna be worse.
Very wrong. The entire auditorium was full of robots, and honestly, I was only able to conquer this area through the repeated use of a strategy I like to call kill one guy and then save the game. Oh my god!
The theater is actually worse than the battle zone!
The Nuka-Cola mixing station, which allowed me to combine a Nuka-Cola beer with another Nuka-Cola beer to create double beer. Some people will claim that AI and vaccines are the greatest advancements of the past century, but to that I ask, can you get drunk on polio vaccines? I didn't think so. That's why double beer is the real scientific pinnacle of our generation. After completing a schizophrenic monologue about alcohol, I found the star course next to a few decomposing junkies in the washroom. Very nice. The last building wasn't as bad. Vault Tech Among the Stars is a recreation vault life experience.
We've gotten one place down.
Living rooms, indoor gardens, and even an entire room dedicated to giving you cancer. I'm feeling nostalgic already. Strangely, as my character progressed through this area, he was getting recurring headaches. I chalked it up to a brain tumor and thought nothing of it. It turns out the whole vault was actually just one giant experiment in subliminal messaging. According to this observation log, they're broadcasting a high frequency over the PA that's meant to induce degenerate behavior such as pissing your pants. Joke's on them, they just wasted millions of dollars to make me do something that I was already going to do anyway. Following this, I spotted a bunch of automatons, found a really nice shotgun, immediately flashed back to all of those times I killed myself with a shotgun, and then quickly unequipped it before finding the remaining
No, but we want to see it outside though. It's probably really good.
star cores and rushing back to the mainframe. With the help of computer scientist extraordinaire and definitely not dead person Kendall Alston, I was able to repair the computer and pacify all of the AI. Meaning we can now walk around the park without having to worry about a medical robot electrifying our testicles. With the robots subjugated, I went upstairs and raised a flag to officiate the conquest of galactic world.
We have 2 out of 6.
Expanding, and the next theater of war is the Wild West.
Hey, Joe, 85% of you is not subscribed. Do you know what I call that? Bitch mentality. So subscribe and turn on notification bells so you can get notified for every video that I upload. Anyway, back to the video. Dry Rock Gulch.
is an arid wasteland inhabited primarily by dead bodies, which should make it an easy target. So I made my way there and quickly realized
I have a
where all
feeling
the
it
dead
won't
bodies
be.
came from, because within moments of arriving, I was attacked by subterranean bloodworms. Yeah, these little bastards tunnel around underground and then ambush you when you least expect it, which means they're either underground, so you can't kill them, or they're firmly latched onto your jugular vein in such a way that makes using a nuclear bomb
you're
seem a
gonna
little
need
too
something.
risky. In this case,
Something
I recommend
else.
treating the entire area as a high-stakes game of the floor is lava. Eventually, I came down to chat with the sheriff, who informed me that he'll give us the perk if we can get rid of the bandits coming out of this building. One problem, the building is locked, and I need combination codes from the Giddy Up Kid, One-Eyed Ike,
The door's made of wood. Can you not just break it down?
and Phosphorus Pete to gain entry. I really wish he told me this before I carpet bombed the entire park, because I'm pretty sure I killed all of those people. This was an irritating development, but my anger quickly faded after the sheriff appointed me as his deputy and gave me this excellent cowboy outfit.
Oh,
Upon
nice.
reloading the save, I found the Giddy Up Kid, who explained that some cattle rustlers had stolen his loyal steed, and he wants me to bring it back. In case you're wondering, he's talking about an inanimate object, but it was like 4 a.m. at this point in the recording, so I just played along with it.
Rustle up some horses for you, huh, cowboy? I'll be back before sundown.
Oh
I searched
no.
the ground for all of 13 seconds before finding the torso of a Giddy-Up Buttercup stuffed inside this man's anal cavity.
Wait.
I grabbed it and dropped its
Wait a
dismembered
minute,
body
what?
inside the horse pen.
Holy shit. How the fuck did he fit it out up there?
Our friend was mildly dismayed.
What happened to Giddy Up Buttercup? They butchered her up like a cow.
But he still gave us his part of the combination code, so I don't
Okay.
really care. Next, I sauntered into a saloon where I met Phosphorus Pete. He wants us to deliver some Nuka-Cola to the residents of Dry Rock Gulch. No problem.
The people of Dry Rock Gulch.
And before you ask, yes, all of the people we delivered soda to were in fact dead bodies, which I made sure to tell Pete.
I'm afraid everyone's dead.
Well, that ain't good.
Doesn't matter though.
No.
The quest is done and
But hey, just give us the code and we'll move on.
rewarded us.
We have a park to conquer and slaves to enslave. Makes no sense because they're already enslaved, but
Code, along with a large quantity of alcoholic Nuka-Cola, which
Nice.
I quickly became addicted to. From here, I sought out One-Eyed Ike to complete our final test, which, much to my dismay, would be a duel at 10 paces. Ike gave me a 44 Magnum and started counting down, but unfortunately, I was still stun-locked by the idea that an amusement park mascot was programmed to hand out loaded revolvers to children before shooting them, which resulted in Ike getting the better of me. Second attempt at the duel,
how are you
I
gonna do
won,
this?
But I won a little
Oh,
too
there we go.
hard, and Ike wasn't alive to give me his code. Third time's the charm. For this, I decided to swap to the junk jet, and after blasting Ike in the head with a steel ingot and an empty beer bottle, he conceded defeat and gave me the final piece of code. Now we can enter this mine shaft, destroy the
Let's
Bloodworm
go.
Queen, and claim
Oh.
Dry Rock Gulch. Honestly, this part was pretty easy. There's really only two things you need to do. One, make sure you break into the office so you can equip this cool duster and pretend you're playing an
Yeah,
actually
that's
good
cool.
Fallout game. And this last one should go without saying, but do not jump in the pit full of dead cows, because they'll erupt with dozens of bloodworms and it makes for a very stressful experience. Other than that, I just nuked everything inside and completed
Okay.
the quest. Not too
let's
bad.
go. We've 3 out of 6
After
now.
raising the flag, we're all done at Dry Rock Gulch, and on to the next target, Safari Adventure. I approached the park and observed a man doing battle with a large
What?
creature. I chased it off by shooting it with 3 nukes, all of which it survived. This
Oh,
was not
no.
a good sign.
Oh,
Anyway,
no.
the guy started talking to me, and from a distance I had assumed he was some kind of male stripper, meant to appeal to the female fantasy of being bludgeoned to death with a sledgehammer. He's just a caveman who was raised by gorillas, which is marginally more believable. His name is Caesar, and he uses caveman dialect to explain that Safari Adventure is overrun with gator claws that are being cloned in a big triangle house, and I need to disable the cloning machine to claim the park. I briefly considered putting a revolver in my mouth as a preferable alternative, but after I heard him using 150% of his brain power to forcibly enunciate the word facility, I felt bad and accepted the quest.
Facility.
So I set out searching for a key to the
I am
triangle
convinced
house, and
now.
thankfully, the gators weren't much of a problem. I mean, they didn't have any nukes, which was a pretty big deal right off the bat. However, they are very tanky, so just use literally any gun that goes full auto and you should be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
In fact, if you want to make it especially simple, you can just
Oh
go
my
to the top of
God.
this treehouse and firebomb.
Oh,
the
just
entire
carpet bomb
map.
the entire
Honestly,
area.
I think the hardest battle I had here was against my alcoholism that I had acquired in Dry Rock Gulch. Eventually, I found the key, let myself into the cloning facility, and started clearing it out. I felt kind of guilty for slaughtering all these dumb animals with nuclear weapons, so I thought I'd try fist fighting one of them just to get my anger levels back up again. It worked like a charm. Anyway, I blasted some gators, hacked into this computer, and turned off the cloning device. I told Cedo the good news, and he was so excited that he gifted me a rocket-propelled aluminum bat that
Ooh,
presumably
that looks
he has
cool.
engineered himself. Not really clear on that. What I am clear on is that the park now belongs to us. On that note, let's go to the fourth park, the
We have
bottling plant.
4 parts.
Industrial complex, which, judging
Two
by
more
the
to go.
automated turrets and unmarked minefields, was probably run by Jeff Bezos. There's also a little section called the World of Refreshments, which I spent some time exploring. And by exploring, I mean I was pulverizing crustaceans to death with a baseball bat. Back outside, I was
A rocket-powered baseball bat.
between myself and the crabs, so I decided to handicap myself by asserting my vertebrate dominance with nothing but a flare gun. This was a massive mistake, because out of the lake emerged the Queen Mirelurk, and she's pretty tough. A direct hit with the nuke does about 10% damage, and sometimes she likes to spit acid on me and melt off all of my skin. And as if that wasn't bad enough,
this is gonna be a bit of a struggle with just a flare gun.
to chase me down and pound the shit out of me while I'm reloading. However, I navigated this problem by applying my universal solution, which was to take a lot of drugs and run really fast. This helped create some distance, which allowed me to pick off the ads before circling back and slow motion nuking the Queen Mirelurk to an early retirement.
Nice.
I cannot imagine how embarrassing it must be to have your entire colony destroyed by this dickhead, but luckily she won't have to worry
With
about
nothing but a flare gun and a bat.
is now ours. On to the next target.
Last one.
This is it.
Kitty Kingdom.
Kitty
Don't like the sound of that one.
Who owns a copy of Minecraft? This could be the most dangerous park of them all.
Yeah, that sounds very weird.
Rides and a castle, it has now been renovated into an industrial gas chamber, with radioactive fumes being pumped into the area at regular intervals. Also, it's inhabited by hundreds of feral ghouls, which are relatively easy to kill. However, they close distance very quickly, and melee combat has become substantially more hazardous, thanks to the mysterious stranger who sometimes shows up and nukes the shit out of me.
What the fuck?
Is that I have this cryogenic shoulder pad, which sometimes freezes my enemies solid, at which point I can take my time knocking off all their limbs with a baseball bat. Anyway, our goal here is to defeat Oswald the Outrageous and seize control of the park. He's hiding somewhere, and I decided to start my search in the funhouse. Upon entering, we had to navigate a labyrinth of mirrors, which was fairly easy because none of the mirrors were reflective. Instead, they appeared to be coated in several layers of dried ejaculant. However, while I was marveling at the artisanal
Hang on a minute now. Why are we talking about dried ejaculant in Kitty Kingdom? That's very fucking concerning. Just saying.
The mirrors, I failed to notice the several landmines scattered about the floor. After limping my way through the maze, I spot Oswald in this control room. I attempt to get closer, and he throws a grenade at me. What a dick. From here, I engage in what was either high-level platforming or low-level astronaut training before entering the hallway of hypnosis. I won't lie, this part was actually mildly disorienting. In fact, at one point, I had to use a dead guy just to confirm I wasn't actually hallucinating. I fumbled my way through this section and into a spinning room with about 24 doors all around it. One door led to that thing that happens when you open OBS. Another presented us with the illusion of a happy family. And of course, there was the classic room full of flamethrowers, positively delightful. By the time I found the correct door, Oswald had already escaped, so I moved on to search for him in King Cola's castle. Never mind. It turns out the park has more traps than I thought, not the least of which are the amusement rides themselves. In fact, I have personally witnessed several park employees being killed, maimed, or otherwise dismembered by the rides here, and it's only been like 20 minutes. Of course, I had to try this for myself with a roller coaster cart, and I realized that it's a lot like boxing. When you expect to get hit, it doesn't do that much damage, but it's the punch you don't see coming that will decimate you. After this, I strolled around the park a bit more.
Dude, this is the deadliest park ever, and it's called Kitty Kingdom. This is not for kids, but
killing ghouls and rummaging through garbage bins until I wandered my way into some employee tunnels. I sprinted through the tunnels like a wild animal, at which point I found Oswald talking to one of his staff members in his office.
Shoot him.
Naturally, I wanted to return the grenade he had thrown at me earlier. This did not work, and I felt like an idiot, so I just kind of took that one on the chin. But it wasn't all bad, because after Oswald disappeared in a puff of smoke, I went into the office and found my next stylistic evolution. Oh yeah, this is gonna work just fine. Alright, well that does it. There's only one place left for Oswald to be hiding, the theater. I broke in with all the grace
Another
of a
theater.
homeless drug addict and started talking with Oswald. He was trying to convince me that he has magical abilities, and he said he was going to show me one of his greatest tricks. Then he punched me in the head and ran away. Truly a master of the mystical arts. I followed him up to the roof, where he gave me some shitty story about being a sympathetic villain. But at this point, I was so tired of chasing him around the park,
Bro, this one just shoot him.
roller coasters, that I opted for immediate violence. In response, Oswald unleashed his most powerful magic trick of all, crashing my game.
What?
3 minutes later,
What
we
did
were
he
back,
do?
and the fight was on. Oswald was much higher level than me, and he had a grand time cutting off my limbs with his fancy sword. However, I managed to counter this by simply jumping over a railing, at which point he could no longer stab me. His method of coping with this was to bathe me in Molotov cocktails, but they don't hurt that much, and I've got enough drugs to stay up here for weeks. I am aware that this
You
borders
become
on
addicted
cheating,
to
so I'm
med
prepared to
X.
negotiate. Instead of staying up here and nuking Oswald into oblivion, I will instead empty out the entire contents of my junk section into the junk jet and kill Oswald with the physical manifestations of my hoarding disorder. This included everything from light bulbs to rolls of duct tape, but the primary ingredient was 156 stacks of free money, which I spent the next 20 minutes bouncing off Oswald's head. This was very enjoyable, albeit not especially effective, because Oswald seems to legitimately be invincible. I shot him with 200 junk items. He barely noticed. Ran him into 6 fragmentation mines. He
What the
walked it
fuck?
off. And even when I got desperate enough to nuke him, he would just reset his health bar. This kind of freaked me out, so I panicked and shot him like 50 times. At which point I realized he wasn't damage immune, just damage resistant. And now he's dead. I stole his
see, you just weren't killing him. That's the problem.
clothing in order to complete my Charlie and the Chocolate Factory cosplay.
Nice.
I quickly raised the flag on Kitty Kingdom,
Let's
indicating our
go!
complete conquest over
You've completed
Nuka World.
everything.
All that's left to do is to go to the power station and press the big red button to finally power up the park. And
Turn
just
it
like
on.
that, we are the CEO of the world's finest
Yes!
slavery-themed amusement park. Which has quite a few benefits. For example, all of the rides are now operational.
Oh, that's cool.
And I can't confirm this, but it
no!
is my personal headcanon that we're receiving our electricity from a small armada of slaves running on hamster wheels. Also, we're going to gather up a gang of raiders and go out into the Commonwealth to recruit more employees through what I like to call competitive hiring practices. So now that we've achieved our primary goal, what's left for us? Well, according to mustache enthusiast Christopher Vogler, the final stage of the hero's journey is to return home as a changed man. In our case, that would be Sanctuary, and as a matter of fact, I am a changed man. Because whatever final threat
You are now the owner of a slave park.
previously prevented
That's how
me from
changed you
killing
are.
all of these people has finally been severed.
Kill them all! Oh my god! Jesus Christ! Dude, how many nukes did you fire? What the fuck? Oh, he's sitting on the shitter, is he? Oh, Jesus!
Well, it's finally over.
Point
We've conquered
blank.
a world where the only projectile ever invented was nuclear bombs. I want to thank this month's patrons for supporting the channel. Don't forget to check out Makeship to purchase and abuse my likeness. And finally, thank you for watching.